Hey guys, David here with BeckerArt, and today we're going to do a complicated scene. And the only reason I'm doing this one is because I have to do 5 of these. One in watercolor, one in gouache, one in oil, one in colored pencil, and one in acrylic. And so we're going to do this one 5 times, and I'm doing it for the pace thing. And today I'm doing it on a panel, a aluminum panel. So this is the Stonehenge Aqua on a panel that's been placed down, and this one is a little bit bigger than I'm doing today. It's a 12 by 16, so this is gonna be a little bit bigger, and but I figure, hey, why not show you guys too, and actually give you a shot to try it yourself. All right, so let's just go right away to our our website first to show you. Anybody new here? Here's where you get the picture. You can just tap on this picture right there, and it'll give you a bigger size of it. This one I think comes from pixabay.com. These are all royalty-free images, and I use those for my classes because I don't have images like this for you to try to work on. But anyways, and down here is my newsletter where you can also get those images and what we're painting and what I'm doing and where I'm at and stuff. So that's my website. And there's either BeckerArt.net or David R. Becker, don't forget the R, Becker.com. All right, so let's just go to our supplies. We always use Holbein. I'm using my Holbein again. I'm just using these colors here. I'm not using my granulating colors today. And I am using my Stonehenge Aqua, but this time I'm not using it as just a piece of paper. It is on a panel. So really kind of fun. And, oh, you know what? I didn't get a chance to do the value study, to show you the value study. Let me just put it up here real quick. I have it here. Sorry, I just totally forgot about that. Where is it? Where is it? Hold on one second. I have it here somewhere. Here's the black and white of it. And so to show you that yes, I should have done. I am going to do it on black paper, but not here. I'm going to show you how to do something like this because I want you to use more paint. Is what I want you to do. And not enough people use dark enough dark pigments, even black. I'm going to use black on this. So that, or make your own black, whatever. But I want you to use enough pigments so you can get it really dark. Yes, there is the black watercolor paper, which I use sometimes, and but not tonight. Tonight we're using a panel. And so you see that basically everything in the center here is, let me just show you real quick. Everything in the center here, like coming back, come on, where are you going here? Right here is my lights, right down to the center. And it's almost like a bullseye where they're almost right in the center, a little bit over to the right, but that's your center of interest here. And the blue and the warm colors is what I'm going for tonight, is that I want you to show you that the foreground is going to be warm and the background is going to be cool. But even though the background is cool, that doesn't mean that the center of interest can't be back there too. So people are always usually making your center of interest a lot easier to make it a center of interest because the animate form in a painting will make everything, you look at that right away. Unless you kind of make it low key and you can't kind of see them. But this is definitely the center of interest right down here, almost a little bit off center here. And so, I really enjoy doing night scenes because the lighting is basically the lights that you are right in the picture. And also the sky back here is blue. And so that kind of gives you the blue that you're going to be using for the background, the cool color. So cool in the back, warm in the foreground, and let's get going. Let me go to the tabletop here. And so, like I said, I'm doing it on 12 by 16. Normally I do it 11 by 14. So this is a little bit bigger, but I am doing it on the Stonehenge panel, aluminum panel. So and I know I just put out a thing about, doing wet into wet and putting wetting your paper to put on a board. Boy, I've got a lot of replies back on that one. Actually, good and bad. Not some people just like to be mean. But really good from some people talking about stretching your paper. And yes, you should stretch your paper. And I've never really gone into that because most of my students don't actually ever stretch their paper. You know, you try to get them to do that, but most of them don't. And so that was just another way of maybe possibly, you know, not getting it so you're not wrinkling when you tape it. But anyways, so this one we have to worry about because this is a panel, and so the panel is on this board. They glue it on, and they don't glue it on. They attach it somehow, which I don't know. I don't know how they attach it to the aluminum panel, but it's really well glued on there because I tried to get it off one time and you cannot get it off. And so let's go and let's start with our lights. Even though I'm doing a night scene, there's a lot of darks in there. I always start my lights first, right? The BeckerArt 3 steps. The 3 steps. I do my light area and figure out my color scheme. And I could use masking fluid in here for the lights and keep everything white that I want white of the paper. But I'm going to paint around it, and if I ever go over it and I screw it up, I'll just use white paint. I'm not one that minds using white paint, and it's not traditional to it's not traditional to use white paint, but if you want to do that, you can put masking fluid there on the lights so you can keep them light, and even on some of the objects that are lit, or, you know, that are metal that are shiny from the light. So that's all. It's all good. It's all good. You do what you do. And so as a beginner, I'm going to go with the lights, right? And so I'm going to go and wet the areas. And nice thing is that you don't have to worry about the really dark areas. I'll just go right over that because you're going to go over the lights with your real darks. Now, if we're doing this on black paper, that'd be a totally different story, but we're not. So we're going to be doing the lights first. And so I didn't clean my palette here, as you see. And so I'm just going to take some blue and do my sky. And I'm not going to wet it first. I'm going to wet it as I go along. I'm going to wet it with my paint in my brush already. So like the sky, I'm just going to wet it right into the sky right away. And you notice how I'm not worrying about going into the dark areas. I just want to capture the sky the way I want it to be a nice blue. I used peacock blue with a little horizon blue. Horizon has a little bit of white in it. So I'm going to make it a little bit lighter down here, and as it goes up, it gets a little bit darker. And I'll float my pigment in that wash. I'm not worried about this area here because it's going to be black, right? It's going to be so dark that you're not going to see this blue. And that's why I go through. And I shouldn't have gone through this part, I just noticed, because that's going to be a warm. And so what I'll do is I'll just wipe this out real quick. Watch this, see? You just wipe things out. It's no problem to wipe things out. People always feel like you can't do that. You can't wipe out or you can't erase. I could even do it afterwards. If I find that I don't like this, I will rub it out afterwards. This is Stonehenge Aqua. It's a little bit softer paper, but it's on a board, so it's nice. It's super fun to work on a board like this. So there's my blue, and I'm going to take the blue in the back and just put a little bit more of it out here. Not too dark. I'm just going to make these little light areas. And if you have questions, please ask away in the comment section there. I will look up every once in a while and see if you have questions. And actually, hey everybody. Hey Maura. Mr. K, Wendy, Sherry, Diana, and Maria. Thanks all guys for showing up. And so I'm just putting the cool colors in the back. And let me just go back to my picture here so I can see. And this door back here, she is warm too, so I'm going to try to go around her a little bit. I kind of like this look that is kind of like the blue. I like how the picture is. I like the colors in the picture, so I'm going to use it. You know, if the colors look great in the picture, you know, why would you not want to use it? You know, that's fine. A lot of times I don't because I don't like what it is, but this I kind of like. I like the look of it. I like how mystic it is and how dark it is, and so that's what I really enjoy about this one. And again, I'm not thinking about the dark yet because will go over this blue. I'm thinking about how I'm going to do the light colors and get the right light colors in there. And these two panels right here are blue. And then I see that it gets from, because right here where the light is shining down, it gets kind of warm there. And so I get a little bit of warm color. Warm meaning just any of these warm orange, reds, yellows, pinks. And they're kind of grayish, right? So I just go in there and just kind of make them nice and gray. Not doing pieces. I'm not painting pieces. Don't paint pieces. Paint areas. Paint your lights and darks. And I'm on step one is my lights. All my lights. Sometimes you put some dark into them too, but like this will go from a light to a dark. So I can do that right away. I can do that with this big wash. It's a big area. It's a big area that goes from the lights all the way down to a dark. So yeah, go ahead and do it. It's okay. It's part of step 1 and 2 together. There's no problem with that at all. You know, it's not like every painting is going to be exactly step 1, step 2, and you stop it there. No, it's sometimes you go right into the next step. And let things float first. I'm trying to get soft edges. And here, where I had done this, you know, because I went in there and got the blue out there. So now I'll just put a little bit more of the red and orange back up in that area. Again, trying to get the color of the warms. I'm not worried so much about this is going to be dark. This is going to be colorful right now. This is my lights. These are my lights. I'm coloring my light areas. Stay away from the white of the paper because I decided that I was going to not put masking fluid down. So I got to watch it. I got to watch that I don't go into those areas that are white. It's fun doing this. So I'm gonna do this painting 5 times. And like I said, I'm doing it in all different mediums, and it's fun to do that. Sometimes, if you ever have a chance and try that, it's kind of neat. It kind of gets me excited about oil painting because I'm gonna do one in oils, one in acrylics, one in color pencil, one in gouache. I'm doing it for Legion papers so that you can see. They have oil paper, they have acrylic paper, the Yupo, which is what I'll use for the acrylic, the Yupo paper. And then this goes from a light to a dark also. Oh, did I go over the white light? No. Okay, good. I didn't go over my light. I really want to kind of keep the paper, the color of the paper. The white of the paper I like to keep. Let's put a little dark in here too right away. Let's get a little bit dark in there. I'm going to re-wet this whole area again then too later on, but it'll be with hard edges, hard darks. Right now I'm getting all my soft edges because it's wet in the wet, right? I'm getting all those soft edges. And you notice I'm not painting small pieces, I'm painting in big areas. And I'm going to put a little bit of blue up here too because I feel that I don't want to make it such a big jump from blue to the red and yellows and oranges. I want it to be more gradual, a gradual tone through there. I shouldn't have left this area because I want to just, this area is pretty dark. Right, and since I'm working bigger, I've got to use a little bit more pigment. When you work a bigger piece of paper, you have to usually use a little bit more paint. And a lot of students aren't used to that because you're working small all the time, and then when you get to a bigger sheet of paper, you tend to put the same amount of pigment in, but now you need more because you get a larger area to cover, especially if you want to go dark. Then it's really important to really put enough pigment in there. Yeah, that last post I just posted about the wet in the wet and not using tape. It's got, boy, it's amazing how many. That's my largest amount of people that have ever seen any of my posts, any of my videos. I think within 3 days, or 6,000 people had. You know, even Thomas Schaller, I just saw, he just posted a thing that he does work with tape, and it does work for him. And he uses gravity, he says, so I'm going to try that too. So it's good to get comments from everybody, you know, bad and good. You know, it doesn't, you know, it's good to get just comments. I wouldn't, you know, suggest just leaving bad comments, like just because you don't like what I said. That's okay though. Anything is fine. I don't mind. But give it good criticism. You know, I like good criticism about what we're doing and how to do things. And yes, a lot of people are saying, well, you should stretch your paper first before you do it. But yeah, like I said, most students don't stretch their paper, and I've tried to do that with people, but they'll just tape it on, and then you get the wrinkle. But it's all good. And it's even better is when you use 300 pound. I always used 300 pound when I was a student, because I just liked, because I, again, was too lazy to stretch my paper. And I actually learned that method from Linda Kemp. She taught me that method of stretching your paper, or just making it both sides wet and just laying it down and flattening it. But there are some people who don't go wet and wet like this, and then it's not even that big a deal, really. You don't have to even worry that much if you're not doing it as wet as I am like here. Then you're fine. You don't have to do it that as much. You don't have to do as much into the. You can tape it. Go ahead and tape it. But I'm all about trying to get everybody to start working standard size either panels or paper, so that you can then make more money on your paintings, and also not spend so much money on framing, because when you're using standard size frames, it's a lot cheaper, and I swear by that. Because why would you want to spend a real lot of money on custom framing when you can go standard sizes with just a little bit of work, just a little bit. See, now this is starting to dry here, so that's no more shine, so I can't go into that anymore. Not now. When it dries, it can be. This is all still real nice and wet, so there I can even get some of my really darks in there right away now too. And I use peach black with a little bit of color in there and with a little bit of reds and stuff, so I don't mix my own blacks. Some people swear by mixing their own blacks, and that's great. Do it. Definitely do it. They do get more colorful when you mix them on your own. Like when you mix them without black, you mix them with red, blue, and yellow, and you can get black. I saw Lynn Practice showed something like that on one of her social media sites, and it's so neat to see when you do mix them. And so it's like I said, that's fine. I tend to find that students, I always try to find the simplest thing for the students so they learn instead of being frustrated when they're not getting it. And it's hard. And watercolor is so hard sometimes with other things that you got to worry about first, that I try to make it simple at least as much as I can. I don't want you to stop doing watercolor, because watercolor is it's a very neat medium. It's an awesome medium. And it takes a little time to learn how to get it to control it and stuff, but you can do it. You can definitely do it. And if I can help in any way to make it easier for you, that's what I'm going to be doing. Like it or not. Here I'm just getting my darks in here, some of the shadows that are soft edged, but again, this is still I'm from step 1 right into step 2, which is step 2 is the large mediums and large darks. I love using white gouache. I love using white gouache. It's become one of those things but I use it not to save my paintings. I use them to enhance them. And I think most people do it also. It's like I don't do that because I'm trying to cover up something. I'm using it because I want my white back, because I went over it. But then just that look, it has kind of a look of an oil painting too, or an acrylic, which I like that look. I find that look to be very neat. So here's my darks now. This is my mediums and my darks. Not my darkest darks. These are not my detailed darks, not my darkest darks, but they are getting to be in my dark areas. And I have to wait for that to dry, because I didn't get that quite dark enough. And I shouldn't have rubbed out, because see what happened when I rub out, and then now it's going in there a little bit. But that's okay. It'll be fine. I'll make the roof a little bit wider, and it'll be good. And so since it's all wet and I really can't go into this right now, I'm just going to start doing my dark darks. Step 3, or step 2, my large darks. And that's a large dark, right? I already did this part, and so I was already in step 2 anyway, so here we go. Oh, the volume is very low tonight? Oh, you're right. I just noticed that. Uh-oh. Let me just fix that for you guys. Sorry about that. Hold on a second here, guys. Sorry about this. Testing, testing. Oh, shoot. So my system was upgraded, so they probably just hold on one second. Actually, this is a good time to let it dry too. I gotta get a new monitor over here. This one of my monitors is has got a bad screen, and I can't get to the one thing. Oh, hold on just one second. I'm sorry about this. Here you go. Sorry about that. Yep, it must have stopped. All right, so here you go. Now we can hear me again. I just upgraded. They're always upgrading your Windows, and so must have went down the volume. But here it should be good now, right? All right, so now that we have, like I said, this is still starting. Now it's starting to dry a little bit good too. So let's go over here now and I will take black, Prussian blue, and I'm going to make it really intensely black and blue. And I'm not going to wet it first. I'm going to float it as I go along because I want this hard edge. I want this hard edge, and I want the hard edge around the window. And you have to use a lot of paint for this. I mean, if you think it's going to be dry 20% lighter, it does even more when it's this dark. So you really load up your brush with fresh pigment. Matter of fact, put fresh pigment down into your palette. Unless you're using Holbein, then you're fine, because that rejuvenates instantly. But I'm still going to put a lot of water in here because I want other colors in there besides just the black. So I am going to put like a blue, a Prussian blue, and just let it float. Because even though I'm putting it on thick, I still want enough water so it's floating to get that watercolor look. Because the watercolor looks best when it's floating. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically what it means. It's like the pigment is actually floating in water. And it's kind of transparent. You can still see through it a little bit. But if I use enough pigment and water, it will just real nicely show the pigment floating in there. Even black, it shows. Now I'm going to go down to a warm color, so I'm going to pick up like an alizarin here. Put alizarin down. And then it kind of goes over this way. And see, I like to wet it all then, and then just manipulate the pigment in the wash. Because that's how you manipulate it and make it do what you want it to do, is by wetting it, and then you can put other colors in there and float them with the amount of pigment that you're putting in. See, I put a little bit of light blue in there, and look at all these nice little things that's coming in. They're bleeding out right now. I just had a student say, "Oh, I got watermarks." I go, "No, those are not watermarks. Those are beautiful pigment marks. Those are, I call them little fingers that are the finger marks, I call them." And they're perfect because they're just showing what watercolor does best, is when it does makes those little fingers and crawls into the next one pigment, crawls into the other pigment. I love that look, and so I told her, it's like, that's what you want it to happen. I want those things to happen. Let the pigment float and crawl in and make its own soft edge. And here I can just give it a little bit of texture to it. Watermark is when you're starting to dry, and that's almost a watermark right there, because it was a little bit too dry right there, and wetness goes in. This is not that's not a watermark. That's kind of close to a watermark, but that's kind of nice to having it there because the light is going to be shining there. So that worked out great, right? Happy accidents are always fun to have happen. I'll take this down. And see how nice and dark that looks now. And it's just, and I can go back into the window, make another dark there. But right now this is very wet and very floaty, meaning that the pigment is just floating. And now we're going to go and do a little bit more detail in here. So I'm kind of doing my large areas, but I'm also now trying to get a little bit of the small stuff done too, the small detail stuff done at the same time. You know, and since this is a bigger painting, I may not get it totally done tonight like I normally do, because the more place you got to cover, the harder it is, you know, to well, actually there's a lot more detail in this painting, so it could be a little bit longer than an hour. And I'm just making excuses, so I always finish. That's one of my things. I always try to finish because I learned that as being an illustrator. When the project had to be done in a certain time, I always got it done, because if you didn't, you'd get fired, you know, because you didn't get it done for the meeting. So you get it done. I just don't put as much detail in then, right? I just make less details. Now this bike has got some neat lights on it. I'm going to put them in with white paint later on. And the darks is what's going to make it look like nighttime, right? I mean, I can't make it look like nighttime if it's not super, super dark and or things are actually almost black. And there is a lot of junk in this picture. But that doesn't mean I have to put every single one of those things in there. And I can fake a lot of it in too by just avoiding, you know, the area and just putting nondescript brushstrokes in there too. This is dark down here. You know, and I'm at a point where I'm trying to get the big parts done, but as I'm doing the big parts, you have to also think about those little small parts that are, you know, I'm not going to do the people until the end, but around the people, I will, like there's a little bigger area right here. And also for me to mix the blacks, I would have to mix them beforehand so I wouldn't spend so much time mixing them, because it does take time to mix your colors like a black. Because you got to take those colors and mix them together and just go back and get some more of this color and a little more of that color until you get a really nice dark. And look at this right in front of her face is really dark. And I'm very, I always think about how much pigment I've got floating into the water. I don't ever want to just do like a gouache where I'm just putting it on thick and just like, especially with the darks, I don't want it just to be a thick thing of paint. It's still got to be transparent, I find. Cauliflowers. I always forget to call them cauliflowers. Yeah, that's another good term for the watermarks. Sometimes they're like cauliflower. So I don't want to get too detailed yet here. And this is going to be dark in here, but I want it warm. So put a little bit of red into this area here. Now there is some smoke happening right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out a little bit of the paint make it look like it's smoking here, because he's got like a pan, a frying pan or something there. And so I'm just going to put that in there like that. Give this kind of a warm look. So tomorrow morning I am heading to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it's going to be a long drive. I'm almost set up, not completely yet, but I'm almost set up for everything there. Because I got to also, after that, a week after that, I'm going to Pace. And so I've got to realize all these things I got to bring along. But it should be fun. It should be a really good time. And I'm not sure about my newsletter and all that, because I'm going to be very busy next week. And so I'm not sure if I can do the Thursday paint along like tonight. I may try to go outside when I'm out there and do a plein air piece. All right, stop with the details. Details are so much fun, though. When you're doing a painting like this that has so much details, I just enjoy it. But get those big areas done first. Just get in there with the big areas. Like in here, we got some big areas of dark underneath this. And let's see how this all works. This is all a lot of stuff here. I didn't even draw it in, thinking that I can just fake a lot of stuff. But it's really good sometimes to actually draw everything in, especially when there's a lot of stuff. And this is the side there. A little bit of red. This is corrugated metal roofing, so I want to make it look like that. And then it also is very dark, and so again I can start with a middle tone, but then throw in some really dark darks. It has to be dark so it looks like night, otherwise it won't look like nighttime. So here I'll make it corrugated by the edges being corrugated, and so I'm going to, what I messed up over here, I'm just going to put that back in there. And there's some light areas here, and so just make those light or colorful and warm. I'm also making them warm. Don't forget these little, all this metal and stuff is just so much fun to put in there. This is, I'm going to say this is probably one of our more advanced paint-alongs I've ever done. But I thought, why not? You can, it's challenging, but hey, why not? You guys can do it. The drawing, you trace the drawing. If the drawing's too hard, trace it. And then the values, I shaded a lot of spots too, so I knew where things are going to be dark and lighter, and so that's no big deal. Shade it then. That's fine. Really dark right here, and it kind of goes dark and gets to a light. So I whisked my brush. So when I whisk my brush, I get a soft edge that just is still going to pick up the texture of the paper. But if you go with like a wet brush and just wet it and then just go over it really fast, you get like kind of like a little texture, but a nice soft edge too. I call that wisping. It used to be the drinking game when I did those paint parties. But don't go drinking. And actually, I don't have another thing to drink anyways. I haven't found a place yet. It's kind of bumming me out that I don't have a... I get to taste so many different nice beers for the years. Now I just can't find a place that sells them by single cans. All right, so look at all this junk right down here. There's a lot. Okay, there's the light. Then there's a lot of darks going down this way. And then there's a lot of things going this way. And this happens to be a pile of junk right here. I'm just calling it junk because I have no idea what all this stuff is. Though it has some color in here, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to put a little bit of both colors here. I can do a little bit of blue, a little bit of the red, maybe even a really bright red, and some neat little things on this shelf. It definitely looks like a shelf of some type. And there's some stuff hanging here. But you notice I'm not going totally detailed yet. I'm not going super fine detail. I'm still working as large as I can in my areas so that I'm not doing super fine details. Enough to just make it look like what the object is, but not super fine. Because I want to have that beautiful washiness to it. Total wine. That sounds good. All right, Holly. We'll see you in Santa Fe. It's gonna be a fun class. I have some really fun pictures that we're gonna be painting in the class, and I bring all the supplies, so they don't have to bring anything. They can just come and enjoy. Gotta hurry here a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. So we get that nice dark through here. We get dark back here. This door is really dark. There's a door right here, and so this is a really dark door with a little handle right there. Bringing that down, go around the bike. Around the bike tire. So I guess, yes, when you do have a lot of things, you have to maybe go a little bit slower in the fact that you have to, go around like this light. I've got to go around. And there is even little stripes on that, but I'll do that later with opaque colors. And same thing with this. This is a bunch of lines. How can I do this? Let's go take a little smaller brush and let's just go in there and just do those lines. My finger right here and just one after another, just go boom. Do it fast. Don't have to make it too steady. It's the side here anyway, so then this part right here. Total wine. Do I have them in my area? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I have that wine in my area. Is that a type of wine? Is it it's a name of a wine? Is that what it is? I'm not a big wine drinker, but I could definitely start drinking and testing out wines. It's only just to toast you guys anyways, so it'd be perfect. So that window doesn't look so good, so I'm just going to come back in with white paint to get those edges. I didn't do a good job with the little rings, the little gates in front of the windows. Let's put this bike in right now. Using my small brush, since I have my small brush out already, so I'm just going to really quickly make this bike. Brake handles. And there's one thing I know is bikes. I used to build bikes with my dad. We used to build bikes for this German bike dealer. We used to do it in our basement. And so then I got into bikes a lot, and so I could build bikes like nobody's business. So I know how to draw them because I built so many of them. Put them together. I didn't build them. I just put them together. They came in a box, and then we would just put them together, and then they put them on the showroom floor of this. They're a Chicago bike company called Fenrish, and it was a German bike, and so they come in boxes, delivered, and then we put them together. So here I'm just putting the wheel on now. I'm just gonna put the wheel. The spokes are gonna be a few of them, but not a lot of them. So make a nice round circle. Try to make it nice. And then there's the bar that comes down. This is the fork, and it comes down here. And you get the pedals right here. We got the back wheel. We're just going to make that, fake that. And if you look at the picture, you really don't see a lot of this happening. So I am going to darken that in there. But let me just put this on here first, and then I'll go in and I'll put the big wash over that. But I want to get kind of the main frame of the bike. And then you can kind of mess it up. You kind of just go in there and get some of the spokes. And now we're just, I'm putting in my dark details, basically is what I'm doing now. And, you know, just what you see in the pictures, that's what you put in now. So I'm going to try to do the bigger areas of that first. Let's see, now I'm going to put in the dark, like there's this shadowing on the wall. It's like this is a basket, right? And so we're just going to put the basket in there. Break my wheel a little bit there. That's coming together. See how the light is starting to, my light is starting to be here in the middle here, right? That's the lightest spot. And everything else is going to be darker and darker as it goes away from the light. Here, I'll put it again, a little wash over this again. I can go around the bike here a little bit so it kind of feels like it's rim lighting. All right, let's get a little bit of this now. Let's go to this side real quick. How much time do I have? Oh, I still got time. Put a little red over here so I have a little bit of warmth in the back there too. Okay. All right, so really quickly, and I'm still getting the large mediums and darks, right? Because that's what I need first. I need the big areas of mediums and darks, not the detailed darks. That comes at the very end. But they are kind of detailed in the fact that I have to get the edges to look right. Otherwise, that doesn't look like the surface that it is. The bike I kind of did earlier than I should have, but it's still good. It's still good. These are little stools that are out here. So then we're going to put another stool here. And I'm going to put these stools together as one big wash so that it looks more together, like you painted it together. And then there's the shadow of the stool here, I noticed. And there's something weird on the floor. It's like rounded. I don't know what that is. That doesn't look, it looks like a problem with the picture. I'm not sure why there's a little round thing right there. So I'm just going to put these shadows in that I think are coming from the stools. And then I'm going to use my big brush and make this a little bit more soft edged, and so that it's more blurry. You know, I always say is that if you want to make something look like something and you don't have the idea what it is, then blur it. Then blur it out and just let it be wet in the wet. Blur it and just let it be blurry. Photographers do it all the time, so we as artists can do that too. We can do that. We can just blur it by making a wet into wet wash. That way I don't have to explain anything in there. It's just, yeah, it's over. It's what it is what it is. Here we got a little shadow, and then we got these darks coming through here. We got a dark coming down this way. Underneath these chairs, there's some dark. There's also a bike there, but that's going to be more detailed. Now we got the people. A nice little wisp. A little wisp. Any questions? Spotlight. Okay, okay. It's a beverage store, huh? Oh, I'm gonna have to definitely visit that. I have to stock up because I am driving my car, so that's good. I'm driving there, and I'm going to be driving back home, so I'll have room. I'll have room for some beverages. All right, time for our people in here. How much time do we have? 15 minutes. So with the people, I'm going to make them warm. I got to start with the warmth of their flesh tone, because this is night and it's not going to be bright sunlight. And they will have some rim lighting. I'll put a little white in them later. And her is like pink, kind of pinkish red. Just make her face pinkish red. And I'm going to show some arm right here, even though she has it covered up. And she's got blue pants on. So we'll put blue pants on her. And make it really dark blue when it's in shadow. In the back here, I can do it dark. And I can even make it soft edged, like I'm doing right now. I'm making a little soft edge. That's okay, because it's just it's how important is it that it looks like I can see their pockets in their pants or something. I don't really need to see that close. Give her really dark hair. Give this guy really dark hair. And I'm going to give him a red or a white top with a red smock or bib, or there we go. Then he can have real dark pants on. And since this is the first one of 5, it'll be interesting to see how this one looks compared to the other ones I do next. And the funny thing is when I do the gouache one, I don't do that much different from this one. Anything that's acrylic, I use it thin. And even the oil, I will go with more of a wash, but the big stuff I'll do first, right? Because with oils, you do the darks first. And there's a bunch of lines here for the stool. And go back for details now over here. Now is when you slow down, you take your picture and you look at details in the picture. Or if you're painting plein air, you look intensely at what you're painting and then figure out what is it that's happening in your picture. What are you trying to show? And it happens at the end, not at the beginning. I know some people like to do from small to large areas, but for watercolor, that's just that's called hyperrealism. Then when you're doing all little things in the beginning. This is more impressionistic, where you impressions of things, and then you get more and more detail to where you can put those little more intense things in. Especially with these darks, I'm going to be putting them in very intensely with some really darks, and almost like calligraphy, where you go in and get all those little lines that look good. Because I have all the washes now. The washes look good. I don't mind the washes, but now I want the calligraphy part of it to happen. The part that's really fine detailed. I notice the back of this thing right here is a little bit darker blue. And there's a building back here part. There's a rooftop or something back here. There's a bunch of little lines. I'm not doing them quite as detailed as they are in the picture, but that's okay. Get the lamp going here, and the lamp, outside of the lamp would not be light, it would be dark because it's not shining on the other side of that lamp there. And then these things would be dark on its top side. Thanks, Mary Beth, for asking everybody to hit the like button. I'm using a quarter-inch brush right now, and I've been using all flats today, because when I do like scenes that are rectangular shapes of buildings and stuff, I usually go with my flats, and that's my quarter-inch, my half-inch, and my 1 1/4. And so that's what I use for my brushes when I'm doing, when I'm doing like scenes like this, where you have a lot of rectangles, because there's buildings, right? And so it's all like windows and everything's kind of rectangular. So I tend to use my flat brushes for all that. And here I'm going to negative paint around this bike, because like the seat is in the light. And now I can do them a little bit more, because she's got a really dark back here. Her back is a little bit darker. Underneath her arm is here, a little bit darker. By her neck. This guy has a little bit darker right here. Then there's a lot happening here. I'm not sure what all this stuff is over here. And so a lot of this I'm just faking into what I think it is. And this kind of comes down to a dark here. I'm going to use a round now because I'm drawing now. So that's when I use it. So when I start drawing things like this thing right here, it's just kind of like I'm going to go around with it. So when I use it as a drawing tool, then I use a round brush. When I'm doing flat surface things, then I use the flats. So there is in the walkway, there's like this little line here, and like it's brickwork or something. Use my flat brush to make it look kind of like there's like little pavers in here. And then I will also take my rigger brush and make super fine lines. Here's got a frying pan. And see, now I'm kind of putting in details, super fine details. And here it looks like there's some. Little round circles I noticed on this door. And this door should be a little bit bluer, but I'm going to put little round dots on here. This door, or this is the lightest spot right there, so that's how come it looks burnt out, because it's basically, that's the light right there. But on the side of the light wouldn't be light like that, and so I'm just going to put it below it, and so on the side I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Use my round brush again. Whatever I can do here to make this area my center of interest is I'll do whatever I have to. I'll put a bunch of little, I'll take some white paint to put some smoke in here. This is a detail spot. That's the spot I want you to look at first. And so I will put a little bit of smoke in there. I'll put my lightest light and my darkest dark, contrast it together as much as I can too. I'll make it really bright and really dark. Because like right here, it didn't get dark enough, and so I'm just going to go in here with a little bit darker color. And when I say color, I will be putting, I put it in black first, but then I drop another color in there. I'll think about it, and I'll go, okay, I need some red in there, so I'll put some red, float some red. And when I say float, there's enough water there. It will float on top of the water, on top of the surface. It'll float. And that gives it a better watercolor kind of type of look. this over here. Like you can't really see her feet and legs and stuff, and you can't see it in the picture either. So that means you don't have to really put that stuff in. I mean, if you can't see it in the picture, why would you see it in your painting? And so you just blur it out and put the shadow in like it does in the photo. And then look at this. That should be a little bit darker and a little bit darker and redder. All right, 5 minutes. Hey, we got pretty far, didn't we? Not too bad for a large painting, for a large size painting. And so when you give it a shot, you know, you don't have to do it in a larger size. Just whatever size you are normally working. And try to work large areas. And how far you take it to how far detailed you want is up to you. I could keep it really loose or I can go really, really fine. It all depends on what you want to do. Like how detailed you want to take it. I'm not going to take it too far because I got to do 5 of these. And so I'm going to take it to about this. And that's going to be it. Now watch this. I'm going to put a little bit of like shading in here. Like there's a shade in there. A little darker shade. And this building comes dark across. And I think I need this to be a little bit darker in here to pop this light out a little bit. Because the light doesn't look light unless there's a dark parts around it. And I can put a little bit of white, like with airbrush. I can actually make it glow too. And nah, I'm not going to do that though. And I am going to put these lines that break your mama's back, the concrete, the sidewalk. I'm going to put the perspective, so if that's like this, I'm going to put the little lines in there going down. Just put a few lines in there to show perspective, right? You got to get that in there. Just try to make it a little bit darker. And little by little, how many more minutes? 2 minutes. I will show you all the rest of them too when I get them done, and I'll probably be doing them at night and when I'm in Santa Fe after class in the evening when I'm back in back in the hotel. I'll probably work late at night to try to get them done, especially the color pencil one. I'm not very good at color pencil, but they want a color pencil one, so I'm going to see how long it'll take me to do that one. Any questions? Yep. Sanctity, you're right. It's always the last 10 minutes or the last, when you're doing the details, where things start looking good. Because before, I mean, they look good too before, but they don't get any details. You don't know what things are what they are. So the last details are you're really showing what things are. But you have to wait until you get all those big washes so that it makes it so much better when you do the details at the end. You need those beginning stuff. You need the stuff in the beginning so that it shows the details at the end. Because you still need that value pattern. The value pattern is there to stay, and you need that to stick. And that's the light coming down to the middle. Remember I said in the beginning, light right to the middle, the lighting. And you could make it, I could keep on going and make it picture perfect. I mean, I could make it like a photograph if I went really fine with everything really, really detailed. And now the last thing I'm going to do at the last minute is do my whites. So I'm going to take pure white, and I should get a bottle of Pro White. It's a little bottle of paint, because I don't think the other stuff really works as well. Like I'm just going to put little hits of light where things are hitting it real lightly, especially in the center of interest here. I'm going to on their face. Well, their face has already done that. Just little highlights, little things that are hitting the light. Here's the light, and so top of things that are metal will shine. Back of the fender here, maybe the fender would be lit up here a little bit. Couple of the forks in the bike. The fork right there and the tire. This chair I kind of messed up, so I'm going to just take and make the top of this stool. I'm just going to make that light stool again. And I think, guys, that's about it. Let me just do one more dark. Is it 31? Oh, I went 1 minute over. Oh, well. Here we go. Last thing. Because this is detail area, so I'm not going to not do nice detailed stuff in this area. This is where I get everything in there to be looking really good. Are any last questions? All right, let's see. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for stopping by. And anytime you have questions, please email me or put them in the comments, especially for this painting. It helps a lot when you comment in the comment section too. And I think this is pretty much the way I'm going to leave it. I think it turned out okay. And so now, like I said, I'm going to do a couple more of these. I may even just keep on going tonight and do the acrylic one, because I got to do them before next week. Not next week, in 2 weeks. I need them for 2 weeks at pace. I need them when I get to pace. Let me just put one wash right here. Okay, I got to stop putzing. Well, thanks, guys. Again, if you have questions, put them in my comment section. And please subscribe if you're not subscribed. And tell your friends. It's always free. And comment, good or bad, doesn't matter. Try to make it better. Try to make it good. And if you do have some complaints, please let me know what I should do about them. All right? Thanks.